Hey, what's going on, guys? This is your pull on to Phase 1 guide for Mythic Gallywix. Let's start off with the Mythic Changes. I know there's a lot, but I'm just going to name a little bit for P1 here. The phase order in the fight is basically completely different than what it was on Heroic and Normal. Essentially, the intermission and P3 portion that you know on all the other difficulties are what we have to deal with initially. One quadrant is cut off initially, as well. For bombs, when we spawn the technicians, they only drop one bomb, so only one bomb exists at a time per ad set. And the bomb holders, once they touch a bomb, cannot die for the rest of the fight, or else it will wipe the raid. These are going to be our VIPs, is what I will refer to them going forward. Once you pick up a bomb, it will be disarmed, and the only way to arm the bomb before dunking it is to run through some little lightning orbs that spawn from the Gigablast frontal. And I'll go over that more once we get there. There's spinning laser quadrant changes. That's the intermission and the other difficulties. That's basically the very first thing we start off with in Mythic. In this little phase where the boss is spinning around, players will be targeted by a beam tether from the boss. If the beam touches another player, or if you get too far away from the boss, it does more damage. As far as ad changes, initially the ads will be spawning on the consoles on the outside of the platform. They do have an enrage, so they need to be soothed and they need to be kicked. And then for the tank bomb changes, there will be 4 tank bombs that spawn at a time that tanks will need to jump on all 4. And the explosion timer doesn't start till the last bomb is clicked. All right, let's go into Phase 1. I've actually split Phase 1 into kind of 3 different sub-phases. The majority of Phase 1 is going to be like the 1-2 portion. So let's go ahead and start talking about the Phase 1-1, call it the Spinnerooni. It's the intermission that we know and love from like Heroic. The lines are going to be spinning counterclockwise. All of the DPS healers and tanks are going to be assigned specific quadrants. When you get targeted by a beam, you want to kind of move closer to the boss so you don't have people in front of you that you might clip with your beam. You always want to stay in your quadrant, and you want to stay relative to other players within that quadrant of your assignment. So it kind of, you can see the line animation of it turning. So it kind of looks like something like this. You'll notice there's 5 players in each quadrant. Some players are tethered, some players are not. You essentially, as it's rotating, want to keep your relative position within that quadrant to minimize the damage output. So we're going to have it's basically a left on pull, burst that thing down, wait a couple ticks and kick it. After that happens, we go into the kind of second portion, or the main, like the meat of Phase 1, which is the quadrant dunks phase. So this is, I'm calling it 1-2. There's very specific things that happen in each quadrant that we have to deal with. And it's basically this list of things, right? So in each quadrant, we have to deal with ads, tank bombs, a frontal, group soaks, and the VIP doing their dunks, the collection of orbs and dunks, and then the suppression cast. So let's talk about the order. So we're going to be starting up in the upper left here on triangle. And the quadrant 1 consists of ads, blaze, bomb circles, the frontal, soaks, and then suppression. So how does that play out? Ads are going to spawn on a console, and we're going to kill them. When they kill them, it will spawn the deactivated bomb. We're going to bait the frontal towards the console here. So this is going to be everyone's trying to bait this frontal. During this, or slightly before this, there's actually going to be blazes that go out. If you get targeted with the blaze, you just want to move out, and you want to keep the zone in between the boss and the console kind of clear of your blaze lines, right? So that whole blue section there where the frontal is about to go off, you want to keep that as like a safe zone. Don't make sure no blazes are going through there. Just to note, if you are targeted with a blaze, you cannot be targeted or contribute to the targeting of that frontal, right? The frontal is always going to target the biggest clump of players. But even if like all the blaze people stack up and clump, it can't target you, right? So if you get blaze, get out and get in position first. That's your priority. And then during this, there's also the bomb circles on the ground, which I didn't animate. That's just a dodge thing, right? So I'm not going to animate them in this PowerPoint. Okay, so you're out with the blaze lines. We're baiting the frontal. The frontal goes off, and it's going to leave little orbs on the ground. And the reason we want to bait it towards the console is those orbs are used by the bomb person, right? So at this point, the person that's assigned to the bomb is going to pick it up and kind of chill and wait for soaks to go out. And soaks are going to look the same every single time. The player targeted soaks are always going to target 2 healers. Those are the ones that you can move around with. And they happen at the exact same time as the canister soaks, which are the small purple circles there. So the small purple circles always form kind of a C shape, and we will have pre-assigned people for every single soak that you see here. And for the healers, what you're going to do is create a little Venn diagram. You can see the person with the bomb is grabbing their orbs and then going to deactivate the console over there while the soaks are happening. That person is not going to be assigned soaks, the bomb person. Notice how the tanks are going to be in between the 2 healer soaks in the Venn diagram. And again, I'm not showing every soak here with player movement, but people are going to be pre-assigned exact positions on where they're supposed to be soaking. Orbs disappear and we activate that first console. So we're good to go. At this point, there's going to be a suppression cast, and we're going to move to the second quadrant. What we're trying to do here is watch the swirlies on the ground. You don't want to lead the group too much because you might create like a death wall of people behind you. And you try not to crowd the next console that we're going to with circles as well. So once we get there, there's going to be the ads again. It's the 2 brutes and then the technician. Basically, the only DPS check in this fight is the technician. You need to kill the technician as soon as possible. It shouldn't be a problem with our gear at this point. But we want to make sure the technician dies ASAP. They're going to be our targets once we move over to the second quadrant. And then in quadrant 2, the order after the ads die is going to be soaks, the blaze bomb circle combo, a frontal, more soaks, and then suppression. So how does that play out? So we kill the ads, the bomb spawns, we get our first set of soaks. And this set's actually pretty easy. There's plenty of time here. You get the 2 healers to create the Venn diagram. Everyone else is in their assigned soaks. We get our assigned soaks, and we're good there. We then get the blaze lines, and then the bomb circles go out, and then we get ready to bait the frontal. Again, if you have blaze, you just stay out and leave the area between the boss and the console clear of your blaze lines, so we know it's safe. And we bait the frontal. Frontal goes off. The next person in line that is assigned the bomb will pick it up. Get ready for the orbs to spawn. They will go and dunk into the console. At this point, we're going to have another set of soaks. So in the second quadrant that we're in, we have 2 sets of soaks. We do our soaks. I did that a little fast. We have our soaks, and then we have the suppression cast to get into the third quadrant. Now, this quadrant is literally the hardest part in the entire fight. If we can get through this specific overlap, the rest of the fight is much easier to progress on. This will be our main progression point for the first week or 2 as we go through this fight. So in quadrant 3, the order is ads and then everything at once. Okay? Ads and then everything at once. There's a very specific way that we can handle this set of mechanics. So the ads are going to die, right? They're going to spawn their bomb, which I don't have on here. Oh, there it is. Spawn our bomb. Everything happens at once here, right? So if you get blazes, you want to run towards where your soak is supposed to be. So this person up here can kind of move their, if they're soaking this 4th one away from the boss, they can kind of move their blaze line to get ready to jump into that soak, right? This person, if they're assigned here, they can stay, etc., etc. So how we're going to do this specific set of overlaps is crazy. So blazes go out and pre-spread towards your assigned soak, right? So that's taking care of the blaze people. Everyone else is going to rotate to the side of the boss, this east side over here, and get in the innermost soak to bait the frontal. So everyone without blazes at this point, right? What's going to happen is the frontal is going to go and look like it's getting cast, and then the entire raid is going to then go to your assigned soaks while the healers rotate into their Venn diagram. So it looks kind of like this. See? So what we're looking for here is everyone inside of basically the healer soaks here, baiting the frontal out to the side. As soon as you see the frontal graphic, everyone moves. Okay? Looks easy. It's going to be very hard in practice. Okay? At that point, we get our orbs, we did our soaks. The bomb person is then going to pick it up. They have very little time here to grab their bombs and dunk their console. That is the meat of P1. We basically have one more soak left to finish the remainder of P1. So this is the reverse it phase, where we're going to run all the way back around very quickly, essentially, to get ready. And it looks kind of like this. So now we get the typical ad set that we usually see on Heroic in the intermission phase, or phase 2 or phase 3, whatever, where we actually get 2 technicians. And so in this particular instance, we're going to get 2 bombs. After the ads die, we're going to have a soak set. All right, there's bombs. There's the soak set. We're going to do our soaks. And again, the note here, a second bomb will spawn. So the 4th dunker and the 5th dunker, 4th is going to be a mage, 5th is going to be a tank. And what we're going to do is, I haven't decided on timing here yet, just depends on raid damage and how comfortable we are. We can either leave the bombs on the ground and move over when the suppression cast happens, or we can take the bombs with us. I haven't decided yet. Well, we can talk about that later. If the mage has enough time to blink over to Skull and grab the bomb and get to where they need to go, it shouldn't matter. But I just animated it here that they picked up their bombs to get out into the next quadrant for suppression. So now, we basically do the same thing as we have been doing here. We're going to bait the frontal blaze bomb combo. So blazes get out. Everyone else is baiting the frontal. At this point, we're going to have a soak set with our lines getting out. And you can see the mage grabs their orbs and runs all the way over to that console over on triangle side to get ready. They're basically on a solo mission by themselves with a bomb and a dream. And the rest of the raid is getting their soaks. Mage is going to alter because at this point in the fight, all of these left consoles here don't have bridges. So you have to jump off the edge towards the lava and have a way to get back. So we have very specific classes that are assigned to do that. So this specific set is going to be a mage that can essentially alter time, jump off, and alter back. And that's what this looks like here. And when they get back, both of those consoles on triangle are now consumed, which then takes up half of the room. And then we move on to P2. That's all of P1. Thanks, gamers. Let's get it.